solar plexus. So solar plexus, it's yellow, it's fire, it's action, it's the next chakra after the feminine sacral chakra. So here, after developing ourselves in the root chakra and then identifying ourselves who we are in the physical form, this is our body, that's who I am. And then the next stage was, okay, I know myself, let's know others around me, reach out and create relationships. And the next step is, I need to do something with life. I need to move somewhere, do something. So, and that's where our solar plexus steps in. It is located between the navel and the heart, where the separation of the ribs happen, like the upper abdomen, soft area right here. The name for it is Manipura, which means gem, like it's your diamond gem. And it's all about sense of yourself, ego, whether it's healthy ego or overpowerment ego, movement, action, integrity, self-identity, will, energy, autonomy, metabolism, technology is part of this as well, and transformation. And in a sense, if you think about it, root chakra and sacral chakra, it's earth and water. So they're very grounded, they're on the ground. And here, fire energy arises where it wants to take off. So it, in a sense, wants to separate from the first lower chakras and move up, moving toward, evolution, toward, expanding itself. It wants to move and act. So this is the description of the element, how it represents that energy within us. And we're ready to move. But if we don't know to move toward what, that's when we start experiencing, challenges. Challenges because we haven't gotten to know ourselves in an authentic way, with integrity. So let me first tell you what organs it represents and what issues, physical and emotional issues, it creates if it's out of balance. So it connects to, let me see, physically, it is creating issues, abdominal issues, bipolar, breast cancer, chronic fatigue, Crohn's disease, diabetes, dyslexia, food allergies, gallstones, gout, hepatitis, hyperglycemia, impotence, indigestion of all kinds, insomnia, irritable bowel syndrome, kidney stones, liver disease, nausea, obesity, pancreas issues, PMS, ulcers. See, the list is huge. So, and on emotional level, it connects to our sense of freedom, independence, power, will, productivity, responsibility, self-esteem, authenticity, integrity, personal ethics, values, honors, confirmation, sense of personal power, control, personal choice, which is very important. And it converts inertia into movement. So when it's out of balance, you find yourself in being, if you know narcissist type of form, you kind of become a narcissist in a sense. and you overpower people. You create energy of anger within you, compatibility, controlling behavior, and of course insecurity, lack of sense of self and identification. So how does it happen really? All of the instabilities of our solar plexus typically generates from relationships. And of course, our relationships start in our childhood with our parents, and then it moves into friends, and then it moves into institutions, and then of course personal relationships, partnerships. So when we find ourselves in situations and relationships where we are not heard, we are unseen, we are misunderstood, we are not accepted, not acknowledged, we don't know how to create sense of ourselves. When we find ourselves in relationships where we are not giving choice, then we typically perceive the other partner as our threat. So we no longer work in a team. We're competing for our sense of being, for who we are, for what we create. So, and that's why it's very important to really connect with yourself in sense of authenticity, and really evaluate what our inner values are and what is integrity. Because, for example, you've never established what you love doing in life, then you will go for a career that is not for you and you're not enjoying yourself and you're just doing it for the sake of doing it. For example, one example, imagine your employer, you come in tomorrow or the employer that you left tells you, we would like for you to continue working, but we won't be paying you. Would you be still doing your job? So that's where the part of authenticity steps in. Are you in line with your authenticity in what you're doing every day? Because ultimately, whether you get paid or not, you would still love doing that. In fact, I'm sitting here by myself talking, lecturing, giving you information, sharing, and I'm not receiving on the other end yours, even though we're set up to do that, but I'm still doing it because for me, I'm connected with this right now. It is something that ignites me and inspires me. And regardless whether I get paid or not, I still want to share this. So it's just an example from my personal life. And one other example, I created this career, of course, of 18 years and found myself a number of years ago, about 5 years ago, maybe even 5, where that energy, that will, that desire wasn't there. Because my authentic self started dividing from my previous mission. And it was much harder to generate that energy to continue. So, and that's when my business was established and I started moving into a different direction. So it's important to connect to what is authentic to us. And then the next step is integrity. And how do we establish that? Well, for example, if your consciousness tells you lying is not part of your integrity, and then you lie, you separate from your own self. You literally divide internally, and you bump into each other, into your own self inside of you. So you consistently disbalancing your solar plexus because you're not responding to yourself in an authentic way with integrity. So, and then, of course, the power of choice. You have to be able to choose your steps forward. And that, of course, our institutions, our schooling, they tell you what to do, they tell you who to be, and you just follow because it's easier that way, in a sense. You know, the money is there, the security is there, and it's, you know, and you don't have to think for yourself. So that's where, when we get stuck in the relationships where everyone consistently tell you what to do and how to be, we lose sense of ourselves. We lose our power and going and desire and fire that sits in us. So, and one exercise I would like to present right now for a couple of minutes is to bring knuckles together, bring your hands together into the knuckle, and find that soft spot where your ribs separate right here, that soft spot. And first kind of relax the torso. Because as you start relaxing your body, you really start actually feeling your organs, right? This actually exercise is much better when you're standing, but it's okay, we do it sitting. And then bring your knuckles close here and start light tapping. This is actually Qigong movement. And relax your knuckles, but still feel that. And as you relax that, you'll start noticing the tension in that area. So try to relax your belly and tap it. This is actually a good exercise to activate your solar plexus. And notice whether it's tense or not. When I did my Qigong practice years ago, we did a lot of tapping around our body everywhere. We tapped a lot our lower belly, that's sacral chakra, and solar plexus. And oh boy, it was at times painful, but it did a lot of good. So just do this throughout, maybe a couple of times a week, whenever you feel it. So this is the exercise that works on solar plexus. And just start noticing, every time you find yourself in relationships where the personal empowerment is taken away, you are disbalancing your solar plexus. When you don't have choice to choose or ability to choose for yourself, solar plexus is disbalanced. When you're not acting in your integrity, solar plexus is disbalanced. So just start noticing those kind of things, and overall, what would really help for solar plexus to find its home, find its balance is truly master your relationships. And not necessarily just the partnerships, but also family, friends, co-workers. Like, you have to master it because relationships is life. Like, unless you're a monk, you can't be without a relationship in this life. And the best way to approach that is really to recognize that ultimately everything is oneness. Ultimately, those that you are facing, they're part of you. So it's in your benefit to meet them, to meet their needs. Not in a sense, do everything for them, but be able to be open to hear them out, to work out with them. So don't sweep the challenges of your relationships under the rug, because that means you're escaping your own self. So to approach relationships head on with open heart, as a team player, you will be able to work on your solar plexus more and more and more. So relationships are the key here, and escaping it is impossible. But recognizing that ultimately everything is neural in life will help to understand that without that, approaching that challenge with a very with a consideration, with mutual approach. I'm bad, you're good, you're good, you're bad. You can really be able to work out, all the ins and outs. So, and ultimately, you want the positive outcome out of the situations. So, and also, what will help is to really take risks, step out of your comfort zone. And that's solar plexus. That's moving forward because it wants you to move forward. It turns inertia into movement. That's its job for you to move forward in your life. So, and perhaps, don't take risks that are kind of jumping off the cliff without a parachute. I would suggest that. Sounds amazing sometimes. But those risks where you can say, okay, it excites me, and and it terrifies me, but it excites me. Make the steps, and of course, using intelligent mind to say, okay, if I jump off the cliff, I may not survive. That's your healthy ego saying you are still in your body. So that risk needs to be balanced within, intelligent mind. But risks that will allow you to come out of your comfort zone, like me talking to myself without any rapport, that's slightly out of comfort zone. It's like I'm talking to myself. So, small example, I guess, but it's very important. It's very important. We want to grow in here, because without action, we don't grow. We can sit and fantasize about a lot of things, but if we don't make a step forward, ultimately we want to see anything back in regard to accomplishments and movement. So, and what I wanted to say also about breathing, without air, fire doesn't ignite. For fire needs air to flicker. So we're going back to the breathing. We need air here. We need breath here. And with oxygen, we create metabolism in our body. So it's very important for our digestive system. We've got to have breath coming in and out. So that's a huge part, because food turns into action and matter turns into energy. And fire in our body keeps us warm and active. So one exercise I wanted for you to do is imagine yourself, for example, in your high school years. Let's say 16, 15, when you thought the life is about to open for you. You are old enough to conquer everything. Just go back and relax into your body and just write down those things you authentically enjoy doing. And it doesn't have to be like building a car or an airplane or writing a book, but simple things, maybe hiking, maybe dancing, maybe communicating with your friends and sharing your passion about something. Even small things that you remember enjoying without even thinking about it, without receiving anything back, just any of those things that really, truly allowed you to express yourself without needing to prove anything or be in your body or anything. So go back to those simple things that you enjoy, because that's where the treasure lies. It leads you to your authenticity, where there were no conditions in a sense. You can even go back to younger age than high school and see what you loved doing at that time. So that's one exercise I would love for you to do and explore yourself. But pretty much the bottom line about solar plexus is truly, because its mantra is to act, and the sense is sight. So you see what you want and you go and get it. So bottom line for solar plexus is to connect with your self-worth and self-esteem. And that requires hardcore honesty with yourself. Small example of my life is before, because I took a break from my 18-year career for a year because I had to do it. I'll probably go into it maybe next time, but yeah, I had to do it on many levels, including my health. I pretty much overworked, and I had to have space for my spiritual growth, health, mental, emotional, all of that. But I've always ended up working a lot, and I realized I needed space for more of me. So I took a break, but after I reconnected with my career, a year later, I set up certain, like three bullet points, because after I changed, my self-worth went out of the roof. So I've set up those bullet points within me. I claim them and I receive them. So self-worth, self-esteem. Take full responsibility for yourself. No finger pointing anymore, because everything is a mirror. When you see something outside, ask yourself, why is it being triggered within you? What is it in you that reflects? Because if you study quantum, well, if you know a little bit about quantum physics and how we project life through our third eye, because our eyes don't see really, they just shine light. So, yeah. So we're literally mirroring everything. Everything is a perception. We're projecting things. All right, that's a deeper conversation. So, so taking full responsibility, because outside of you, it's you. Healing victimization mind as well. We grew up, majority of us grew up in a mindset of victim. So we are not victims of life. Life happens for us, not to us. So when we start changing that perception, mirroring of life changes. I speak from my personal experience, it truly does. Make sure you are grounded. Root chakra. Make sure you're grounded, because if you're not grounded, you cannot take off. You've got to be at the ground to go high. Connect with your authenticity. Make sure you do love doing what you're doing or what you're imagining to do, because you won't have that fire and desire to do it if you don't love it. I think we all know that. Connect with your integrity and your values, because ultimately you will be attracting your values. And you probably know that by looking back at your relationships, at your connections, how they've changed throughout the life, because our values also can change throughout the life. So whatever values you got, you will be attracting those. And identify the large purpose and mission by connecting with your heart. So your mission has to be felt in your heart. And when our personal will and divine will are one, that mission has to be followed, because it will consistently follow you to make you want to follow it, because that means it's your path and you have to follow through, and you would want to. So, and you gotta laugh, you gotta enjoy your life, you gotta laugh. And ultimately what you will be observing is when your solar plexus is balanced, you find your authenticity, and you stand in your integrity every time you make a step. What you will find is you will be attracting the same thing. You will be attracting all those relationships that reflect your authenticity and your integrity. So, and in that sense, you will know your solar plexus is balanced. So now we've covered root chakra, sacral root chakra, and solar chakra, solar plexus chakra. So, and these are three lower energy chakras. Our next step will be our heart chakra, which is the bridge between lower three chakras and higher three chakras. So that's very, very cool. I'm very excited about that. Namaste.